I know you're gonna dig this.
They'll throw to second for one, and now they got the man trapped in third and tag him out.
And 2nd and 2, handoff goes to McCaffrey up the middle, finds a little room, lot more room, and he's off to the races.
Welcome to the In the Zone Sports Talk Radio Network. You're listening to the Just Us Sports Talk Show with your host, Kate Diggs from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the small city with the large heart, and co-host Dana the Hater Clark from St. Petersburg, Florida. Also co-hosting Murray E. Baskerville from Gotta Be More Careful, Baltimore, Maryland. These are your hosts, bringing you the ultimate in sports news for the ultimate sports fan. Be sure to download the Try 99 TV app on any smart device and subscribe to In the Zone Sports Talk Television. The cost is $4.95. Thank you in advance for your support. Now sit back and prepare to get into another episode of the Just Us Sports Talk Show.
I know you're gonna dig this.
What's up, everybody? Hey, it's October 10th, 2024. Weather a little chilly outside in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. First off, we want to make sure you say a prayer for the state of Florida, for the hurricane that came through there, and Tampa, and other surrounding areas. There were some deaths, but not that many as of right now. So, I posted on Facebook, for the family in Florida, let me know if you're hanging in there and everybody's good. Dana won't be on today. He's straight, but he has no power, and I don't think he has no electricity and no water. So hopefully everything will turn out right for everybody down in Florida. I love Florida. It's a good place to go visit, but I couldn't live. I ain't too crazy about the Four Seasons either, but when it comes to the wintertime and the snows, you kind of can compare. You can prepare for that because you go to the store, get your bacon, your eggs, your bread, your milk. And the thing about it is that the snow, you can always shovel out the snow, but when it comes to a tornado or hurricane and things like that, that's a whole different animal. And back in I think August, middle part of August, we had a tornado come through here. It was a straight line, and people had power down and things of that nature, and cars and trees and everything like that. And the thing about it is Harrisburg's in a valley, so that's really hard for once you get in the valley, it's hard to leave the valley because it's in a valley, But we worked it out. Everything's good. So hopefully everything will be well in Florida, because I think this is the third or fourth hurricane they had this year, and it's like a record-breaking situation with these hurricanes. I don't know what's causing these things to happen, but hopefully they're done. The worst thing they can say is that it's still a lot. We're not getting enough rain or something like that down there. That's something we can all deal with. Also, it was something else that was on my mind, and I apologize. I'm be doing it late tonight because Monday I had a soccer game, football game. Tuesday had a soccer football game practice. Then yesterday had soccer senior day, and tonight I had practice. Yeah, I'm a busy man. I stay busy. And I love it because I'm dealing with the kids in the community. I coach girls basketball. I love it to death, but I think this might be my last year, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to tell the girls that, but it just might be. It's time for Coach Dixon to hang up his basketball shoes and sit back and enjoy the game and life and things of that nature. I'm getting up in age. It's time for me to just move to another pasture, unless I were to get a head coaching job, and I don't know if I really want that task. of being a head coach of basketball because it takes up a lot of your time, a lot of your time. But then me, I know who I am. I'm a guy that I delegate. I like to I would delegate my services to everybody. I'm like, okay, you got the summer league, you got the fall league. If you want to play, if you don't, then come September, you're off September, October, we're gonna do a little something, something. Then November is when we get hot and heavy because the season don't really start until the beginning of December. So that would be my take on things. Some people may do a little bit differently, but that's just what I do. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. We got to talk the baseball situation, and I wanted to try. I wanted to get a Philly fan on, and I couldn't. But we should get a Philly fan on in the near future because I want them to tell me because now that Phillies has been eliminated because they played the best 3 out of 5 games and they had won a division. Like and if you guys listen to my show at the beginning of the season. And when we saw that Philly was going to be in first place, I'm like, okay, the Philadelphia Phillies and Atlanta Braves had switched position where the Braves were in first, Phillies in second. The Phillies just walked away down to the getting to the World Series, getting close to the World Series and things of that nature. Even though they didn't go because the Arizona Diamondbacks went last year, but both those teams were wild card teams where they played that 3 out of 5 game. Then they went into the 2 out of 3, and they went into the 3 out of 5, which we're in right now, right? Yeah. And then you go to the 7 games. I got a solution to that situation because now Philly fans are saying it's not fair. We sat down, we had some rest, and we couldn't get back in the rhythm like we were. And then we lost to the Mets, who's playing really good baseball right now. But again, I got a solution, and we'll talk about it as the night goes on. We're gonna talk about we also and I think we have Matthew on the line, and there was some stuff about Pete Rose I still wanted to talk about again, so we're gonna talk about that as well. Then we're gonna talk about the situation with the New York Jets and a firing of their head coach. And at first I thought that Aaron Rodgers had something to do with it, but now that I'm reading some other things, I don't think he really had anything to do with it. So we're gonna talk about that as well. We're gonna talk about a whole bunch of stuff. We got the NBA's in session. We got the WNBA playoffs. My team got eliminated, Connecticut Sun. So I know. I just tell Mo all the time. I was like, my teams are competitive. They get to the championship and they don't win, but that's good. That's a good thing because they sometimes are the last 2 teams that's standing, and even though they lose, it is what it is. Somebody got to win. Somebody got to lose. But again, the Dodgers are in the playoffs. The Connecticut Suns are in the playoffs. This football season, I don't know if both my teams winning 4. I don't know if we're gonna get in the playoffs. It's a long season though. Basketball, Celtics won an NBA title. My high school team should be in the playoffs. So I'm surrounded by winners that just ain't winning the big kahuna when they have that chance. So again, so let me see. We got Matthew on the line. We got Curry on, and we got Basketball on right now. Like I said, and I think I think Rich is Rich online. No, I don't see Rich online. Rich might be watching a football game because this is a must win for the San Francisco 49ers. But anyway, getting back to baseball. So right now, as far as baseball is concerned, you have a couple teams that are playing that 5th game, and right now we're looking at the Guardian Angels. Oh my goodness, the Cleveland Guardians are 4.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, somebody was trying to chime in on you, but I don't know if you heard them or not.
Yeah, I heard some. I thought that was Rich, but I think that might have been Murray, Mo. So Mo, I can hear you. I can hear you guys.
I just want that was Philadelphia 2 times.
Say it again.
I hate the Philadelphia Phillies 2 times.
2 times. He said he ate Philadelphia Phillies 2 times. So anyway, the Cleveland Guardians is 4-3 against Detroit. Bottom of the 7th, and they got 2 outs. And I wouldn't be mad if Detroit goes. You know what I'm saying? It'd be a love story there for Detroit. Yankees right now are up 1-0 in the middle of the 2nd inning. I think there's only 2 games that's playing right now. Then you have the Dodgers and the Padres will play tomorrow for the 5th game. Now, Mo, you're a Yankee fan, and your team had the high seed, right, in the American League, correct? So let me ask you a question. If they lose to the Royals, how do you feel about this playoff bracket? You know, I don't like it at all. I don't care too much for it. But how do you feel about it? Oh, you going in and out. Okay. So while he's getting himself together,
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, that's a lot better.
All right. So what I was saying was, it's good for the fans. Not as good for the team that won the most games, but you do get a chance to actually set your lineup and set your pitching. It's just if it goes 3 games, then it's a lot longer to actually wait. But the Yankees are actually doing well. I feel like that it was good for Giancarlo Stanton. That's why he played so well yesterday.
But then Carlos Stanton, they said he came out earlier that day to get used to the stadium, and he was hitting off a tee, a batting tee to get the normality, I guess you want to say, of Kansas City, because maybe he didn't play in Kansas City. Was he hurt when they went to Kansas City this year?
I don't remember. He was hurt a lot this year. So,
okay.
But he still hit 27 home runs this year. So he had a great season.
Okay.
For being hurt so much.
Okay.
And being the 3rd best player on the team.
Okay. And
the 3rd best hitter on the team.
Okay. And Curry's out here right now. Curry's a Braves fan. And Curry, at the beginning of the season, when we kind of thought that Atlanta wasn't going to catch the Philadelphia Phillies, that's like, oh, then they switched spots where Philly won the division and Atlanta was a wild card team. And I'm like, okay, let's see how this works out for Atlanta. It works out as well for Atlanta as it did for Philly in the past, because they've been the wild card team for the last 2 years. And it kind of didn't work out for the Braves right now. But again, the Braves had a lot of injuries to their team, so that's one of the reasons why the Braves, they still got in. It just shows you how good a manager you have when you have the injuries that you have and you still get into the playoffs. But again, I wanted to see if they could do the same thing that the Phillies did when they were the wild card team. So Curry, were you okay with how it ended with the Braves, or did you see it coming, or what's your take on it? Curry, you out there?
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Here we go. I've got a theory on that. And I'll ask you a question before I answer your question. Why would you back into a parking space?
Why would you? Because you want to leave early. You want to. I mean, you want to be able to get in your car and leave.
So you can
leave faster.
This is what happened with the Braves. They backed into the playoffs. So when you back in, you leaving early. So I was basically okay with the Braves not going any further than they were, because I didn't expect them to go anywhere. In fact, based on, like you said, the injuries that they had, especially losing Acuna early in the season, I think that really hurt them. But yeah, I'm okay with them. They didn't do any less than I expected them to.
Okay, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my theory on how they can fix the playoffs. Because if the Yankees lose tonight and the Dodgers lose tonight, all four teams, all the teams that won the division are already eliminated in in the playoffs for the World Series. And again, last year you had Texas Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks, which was probably one of the lowest rating um World Series that was seen on television because nobody they both teams were like 6 games above 500 or something like that, and they went to the World Series, which doesn't make it that much interesting. But just listening to analysts talk and listen to fans talk, I have a solution to the problem because they said, "Well, I don't know how we can fix this." So I'm gonna tell you how you fix this. The two wild card teams play one game. That's it. Win or go home. Then you move on and you play your 7 game series. Don't play 5 games because if you think about it, you don't you're if you're thinking about going to the World Series, you're going to have a rotation that fits in 7 games, not in 3, not in 5, but in 7. So the first round should be a one and done. The wild card team one and done. Forget it. That's it. Then the next series needs to go 7 games. Okay, and the only issue about going 7 games is if it goes 7 games, then that means that you're leaving. You may be going from the end of October into the beginning of November, depending on well, it's definitely going to happen, right? But now the thing about it is, it depends on who's there. Like, do you want to play baseball in November in Cleveland? No, not really. Do you want to play baseball anywhere on the East Coast in November? Probably nowhere. No. You can't play it during the daytime because the kids are in school. Okay, so so the parents like, I'm not taking you to a baseball game. You got to be in school. Diehard fans was like, okay, yeah, we can go to a game during the day. We'll do that. But most fans were like, nah, we want to play the game at nighttime, and we know what the weather's like in the East Coast at nighttime. You looking at between in November, early part of November, looking at 30 to 40 degrees um at nighttime, right? So that's the only downfall if you were to have a 7 game series in the second round, right? Because they're not gonna get rid of the wild card games, but just make the wild card game a 1 game and be done with it. And now you're really not missing a lot of time off, okay? And now you're still in your rhythm because it's a one. It is so. Let's say the season ends, you get 5 days off, and so that means everybody's off for 5 days. Then you had that one game. That one game, they play that one game, then skip that day, and then you go ahead and play. You're not really missing nobody's really missing a lot of time off because to me, I think, and you guys can agree or disagree with me, and we can have an opinion on this. If you think that, I think to me, baseball is probably the hardest game to mentally get prepared for once you've played and you've won your division, and now you're sitting down waiting for the other team to play. Even if you like you're the Mets, right? The Mets are sitting down for what, 2 games? I mean, for 2 nights. The Dodgers and Braves play. Dodgers play tomorrow, so they might have been out of baseball 3 days. Not gonna really hurt them because it's a 7 game series, right? So you stretch that 7 game series out to almost a 2 week period or something like that. Especially if you got to go East Coast, West Coast, you know. So that's my solution to the issue: is just play one wild card game. Don't play 3 games. Just play one and be done with it, and make the other one 7 if you can. And make the divisional game 7, then you make of course, the World Series is going to be 7, and you still can get it all in October. And if it means to maybe take maybe a week away from baseball or start baseball sooner, then okay, that's fine. But what's happening is, like, now the Philly fans are really upset because they're like, yo, we were doing good at the end of the season, and now that we're not doing good because we had that time off. Because I think, to me, mentally, baseball is more of a mental game than it is a physical game because you can you can pull a hamstring, you can twist your ankle, but it's not the same as if you was playing basketball, if you're playing football. Because to me, baseball is more. I think baseball is more not 80% mental and 20% physical. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't have to lift weights to hit a home run. Let's be real about it. You do want to lift weights because you want to knock it out the park, but do you really have to? Look at Cecil Field, how big he was when he played baseball. You know what I'm saying? Even though he played first base, but the dude could hit, but he was a little chubby dude. You know, so I think that would help with this baseball thing because now Philly fans are upset that they lost that series. But you know what? They wasn't upset for the last 2 years when they beat the Braves in a 3 out of 5 game series, and it still didn't get to the World Series. But they wasn't complaining then. You know what I'm saying? But I have been complaining since day one about it. I didn't like it, and it affected the Dodgers in every series they had since they won the World Series. But even if the Dodgers win the World Series this year, if they were to win the World Series this year, my opinion is gonna still stay the same. I'm not changing my opinion. They need to fix it. They just need to fix it because it's not fair. What advantage do you have to win a division and you have to wait almost 5 days to play again? Anybody agree with me on my solution to fix this? Speak up or forever hold your peace.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tim.
Okay. Anybody else agree? Do anybody disagree?
I can't disagree. I mean, that's what you're doing.
Okay.
I don't disagree. I just don't believe anything is wrong with it. It's good to have more teams in. So I like the format.
And I don't disagree with it, but what's the what can you what's the purpose of winning the division if you wait 5 days to play and your mental, like I said, I think your mental is more the mental part of baseball is the most thing that you have to worry about because if you think about this, if it's let's say bottom of the ninth and the team you're playing gets 3 runs in the top of the ninth.
Can I give you a different scenario?
Say what?
Can I give you a different scenario?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's just like football. Football, you play to actually earn a bye. So you can get healthy, you can start reviewing the other teams, you get more time to prepare for them. So you prepare for 2 teams until you know who's going to win. And you've already broken it down and you're prepared for them.
Okay, but I'm gonna say this.
So that's how I like it.
I don't think you can compare football to baseball, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because you take the Baltimore Ravens, the year the Baltimore Ravens was the number 1 seed, they have been the number 1 seed for a while. So what ended up happening was they didn't play none of the starters the second to the last game, and they didn't play none of the starters the last game. So in all actuality, they set out for a whole month, and they end up losing the playoff game they played that year. They end up losing because the starters hadn't played for a whole month. So that kind of backfired on them because they had sold it up so early. It's like, oh well, we're gonna rest you guys. But what happened is they end up losing.
Harbaugh, though.
Huh?
Andy Reid did it 2 years in a row, was the number 1 seed and went to the Super Bowl.
But
argument that you have.
No. But listen to me. None of his players rest.
They did rest. They got the week off. I'm saying
no. I'm talking about during the season. At the end of the season, they were still playing football. When the games were still being played.
Get a bye week.
Right. I'm not disagreeing with the
same thing. It's 5 days.
But I'm not disagreeing with the bye week. What I'm disagreeing with was when Baltimore had locked the number 1 seed up in week 15. They didn't play week 16.
That's on Harbaugh. That's not on the league.
No. But what I'm saying to you though, that's why I don't think you can compare
it. That's on Harbaugh. That's not the league. You can't blame the league.
And I understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying though that scenario right there is you still should play your starters because you know they're gonna be off almost a whole month.
That's on Harbaugh.
But what Kansas City did, they still played their starters week 15, week 16, and week 17, and they had a bye. So they still had.
And they won.
They still had more rhythm.
On Harbaugh.
Right, and I'm not disagreeing with you on Harbaugh. But I'm just saying though that right there, to me, is different than baseball because at football, you need that rest. You know what I'm saying? Baseball, you really don't need a rest because the pitchers you're gonna pitch have been off for a while. You know, they've been off, so it's not like it's not.
Pitchers get tired at the end of the year.
Well, then they need to play less games.
Get tired. They need a mental break.
then they need the key word was mental. You said mental, and then try to get that mental back is hard. It's hard.
No, you know what you're playing for by the time you get to the end of the season.
I'm not saying you don't, but when you don't have the reps, you don't have the reps that you normally do.
Players don't play well. Mentally strong players see it as a good thing. Listen to the players that talk about it. The Yankees talk about they love having this rep.
You know why? Because
and they're winning. They're not losing this series. They're up 2-1. You said everybody's gonna be out. They're winning.
But what I'm saying to you though, if they lose, the conversation's gonna come up. I'm telling you right now, it's brewing.
The Royals are hot.
It's already brewing. If the Dodgers lose, you
just mad because the Dodgers gonna lose.
No. If the listen to me.
Weak.
If the Dodgers and the Yankees both lose, no number one seed is still around. They're going to talk about it. They're going to
on the team, man. That's the manager that has to keep them right.
But how do you
keep their head together?
But how do you simulate 9 innings of intense baseball now that's in the playoffs? Because every pitch counts, every bat counts, every run counts, right? Watching the game last night, the Dodgers were up 7-0, and Ohtani ran past third base, and the third baseman told him to hold up, and he didn't, and he was out. Dave Roberts was hot. He was pissed off, and he's up 7-0, and we're talking the 7th inning, maybe I think it might have been the top of the 7th, where you could mentally see that the Padres were out of it at that point in time. But that's how pissed off he was, because that's how important everything counts now. The intensity intensifies with baseball, to me, more than any other sport when it comes to playoffs.
Well, this is Ohtani's first time in the playoffs.
True.
So he doesn't understand that. And the guy probably was speaking English who was telling him to stop.
No. When you put your hands up in front of you and he know what that means.
Come on, Cam. You know that was a joke.
Yeah, I know. But he knew what it means. But what I'm saying though, because you said the mental part of it, and that's the hardest part to get back, is the mental, not the physical part of it.
Ohtani is weak mentally.
But that's the hardest.
It's like Judge. He's weak mentally. They're both tired.
Well,
I'm a great season. You're tired at the end.
But
they have to learn to pace themselves.
So again, what do you get? What do you get for being the number one seed in the major leagues? What advantage do you get other than your team gets rest, right?
Yeah. Well, you could build a case either way.
Go ahead,
you
Kurt.
Could build a case either way, because I mean, if you got that rest time, and if you're me, I want that rest time, because the Major League Baseball is a long season, so them guys need to rest up. They got aggravating injuries that's not keeping them out of the game, but it's slowing them down, so they can get healthy again. You can set your rotation like you want to, but then on the flip side, that team just been playing might build some momentum, and they just roll right on through. So I can see both ways where it could be effective.
And I totally agree with you. But the thing about it is that you set your rotation up for a 7-game series, not a 5. And that's where, and see, like and that's been the Dodgers. That's what had been the Dodgers issue for the last 2 years, is that their pitching rotation was built for 7 games, not for 3. And not for 5 games, but for not for 5 games, but for 7 games, And so Dave Roberts like, oh, okay. Dave Roberts like, okay, yeah, I see what we did here wrong, And to be honest with you, the Dodgers, the year after they won the World Series, you could see mentally, physically, you could see they were tired. They were tired, and again, if they're tired, and this is the product that you get on the field, then shorten the season. Because 182, that's a lot of games to play. That's a lot of games to play, And if that's what the players are saying, I'm mentally drained. Okay, then let's do something to help them not be mentally drained. Because again, if you get a team that's rolling like the Mets are doing, you know what I'm saying? Because at one point in time, Mets were like 10 games below 500, and look what they're doing right now. You know.
Yeah, but you also got to think about this is almost like the All-Star break. They get a week almost. They get 4 days. So they're off from Sunday until Thursday.
Right, and I agree with you. But I'm telling you what's going to happen. I'm telling you is let Yankees lose tonight and let the Dodgers lose tomorrow, and they're gonna be like, okay, so all the teams that have the best records are not in the World
Got
Series.
another game though. We're up 2-1.
No, if you
we
win
tonight, we still got another game.
No, if you win tonight, it's over. It's 3 because it's best 3 out of 5.
Yeah, if we win.
Yeah, but I'm
if we lose, we still got another game.
Right, but what I'm saying, like, but if you guys lose a series and the Dodgers lose a series, then the talk gonna be like, how can we fix this? And nobody has no idea how to fix it. You know,
We're up 2-1 right now. If we lose, if we let them win the last 2 games, that's on us. That's not on the season. That's on us.
No, I don't disagree.
If we lost the first 3 games because we were cold and they were hot, I get it.
And I don't disagree
with
that.
We won the first game, they won the second, we won the third.
Right, and I don't disagree with you on that either. I really don't. I really don't disagree. Like, because with the Dodgers and the Padres, that's a heated thing. They're cussing at each other and throwing sunflower seeds at each other and throwing the ball at the manager and all kind of fans throwing stuff at the other players. That's a heated rivalry. So maybe that might be it might be a different flavor for Detroit and the Yankees. But again, I'm saying this: if the Yankees allow Detroit to win that series, allow the Royals to win that series, and the Dodgers lose to the Padres, the talk's already out there. How can they fix this? That some of the best teams with the best record gets to the World Series, because again, last year the ratings for the World Series was down. I didn't watch one game. It's not that the Dodgers lost, but 2 teams they were 6 games above 500.
So you say it wasn't because the Dodgers lost?
No, it was.
Would you have watched the World Series if the Dodgers was in it?
Of course, I would have watched. I'd have watched it if the Philly. I'd have watched it. I'd have watched it if the Braves or the Phillies were in it, because their record reflect winning. So what happened here is Arizona just hung around to get in there. With 6 games above 500, they get into the playoffs. So now, what do you do? What do you do now? Do you just play mediocre baseball and you get in?
Hey, like Chris Berman say, that's why they play the game.
True. I don't disagree with you guys at all. I'm just giving y'all a scenario why I think that it needs to be changed and how they can change it. Because again, you have all the teams that work hard to be the number 1 seed, and there's really no only advantage is you get rest. But then you don't have you cannot simulate a playoff game in baseball, the intensity that they have in baseball. That's why I rather listen to it on the radio than watch it, because watching it's excruciating for me. It really is. And the roller coaster ride that you have in a baseball game is way more than any other sport out there. You know, in my opinion, football probably could be there. Basketball could probably be there, but depending on, like, when they, you listen to the radio and say 45-40, 35-30, 25-20, and then you say, oh, then somebody knocked him down. Where with the baseball, he like hit the long ball. It looks like it's going out. It's about 450 feet in left center field. But the intensity of listening to it, and then finally he tells you, you be like, wow. And then you say, oh, he jumped up and caught the ball at the end, and the home run's done. Now that roller coaster ride you're on just went deep down in the trenches. So I just did that. This is just my opinion on it. But like I said, I'd rather listen to baseball on the radio than watch it, because watching the Dodgers play, I'm telling you, man, it's so intense for me, because this is where every pitch matters. Everything matters right now in baseball. And like I know, like the other night when they lost the Padres, they had a man on first and a man on third, and they had one out, and they had already scored. It was I think it was 3-1. If they could have got a hit, that would have probably turned that whole game around, and the Dodgers probably would have won that game because they had the momentum. And that's how quick the baseball turns around. In baseball, how fast it turns around. Like last night watching the Dodgers game, they were saying how important it is that the Padres don't get a run in the seventh, eighth, or ninth inning because now they think they think they got their power back. So now they feel like they can go to Dodger Stadium and they have a chance where they didn't score at all. And they can sit there and say, well, I mean, they can sit and say, well, that's one game. But the momentum is still on the Dodger side because they scored 8 runs. And they did it with the bullpen pitching, which I never saw that before. That was incredible to have the bullpen. They had about 10 pitchers that pitched that game. So that's just my opinion on that right there. Going forward with baseball, if they can fix it so that the teams that get the number one seed get a fair shot of going to World Series, because for the last 2-3 years we haven't seen a team get there that was the number one seed. So let's go ahead. Let's do. I got Dana's information. Rich is not on the show, and he didn't. I don't think Rich sent me his information, so we can kind of bypass. If my mouse will start working again. Okay. If my mouse will start working again. Okay. So what we can do. So Matthew, if you want to send me your picks, we can do it that way, and I'll write them down, and then I'll tell Rich to do the same thing, so that you guys all have your picks. Before we so let's go ahead and talk about Pete Rose for the next couple of minutes. So Matthew, what did you find out about Pete Rose? And the reason why I asked you to talk about Pete Rose a little bit more is because after I read some things about how Cincinnati Reds had him come back for some kind of honorary thing or something was going on, and
baseball. The Cincinnati Reds Baseball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, they brought him back for something. They honored him, but then now, I mean, I don't understand how Cincinnati Reds can honor him if baseball banned him from the Hall of Fame, and how they used him while he was still alive to do commercials for baseball, and things of that nature. So give me your take on what you know where I'm trying to go with this. So give me a take on what you found out about him.
So back, I want to say this was 2017, 2018 when this came up before the or this might have been the same year that the Reds did the All-Star break. And they figured, why not? Let's have a Hall of Fame Ring of Honor weekend, and let's select some Reds players just to get more fans into attend the our Star activities. And I believe they made a phone call with like a family member of Rose, not directly, because they didn't know what his official reaction was. The family member to let Rose know. And Rose immediately called the team back and said, absolutely, I would be honored to do this. So what they did was even though he was banned from the MLB baseball part, they still allowed him to be outside of the stadium when they did this Ring of Honor thing. So like it was like general admission, free fan gimmick. And then what they did was they brought from outside to inside to where he can walk onto the field because it wasn't a live game or anything like that to that extent. So when they did that on the Saturday weekend before the All-Star activity started, they gave him his own statue, I believe, in a Ring of Honor and they enter him not in the MLB Hall of Fame, but in the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame. And honestly, it doesn't surprise me, but at the same time, it did surprise me because it's like, are you guys trying to get more revenue? Because you're like, oh, we want to bring him in. We know he's not going to go to the Hall of Fame right now, but we believe we can create our own team Hall of Fame just for him, just so it brings in more revenue during that time when the Reds were kind of struggling with who we're going to get within the free agency system.
Okay, so you being a Pete Rose fan, I'm gonna tell you, I was appalled by reading everything about what they did, how they used him, and things of that nature. How MLB made money off of him, but they banned him from going to the Hall of Fame. How do you feel about that? Do you think that was fair, unfair? And I think everybody on this panel feel like Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
I feel like as of now, I feel like he shouldn't go to the Hall of Fame because if they make the offer, let's say next week to his family, and there's sources that are saying that the family would immediately decline that because that's basically a big giant bird finger to the family saying, oh, we're sorry about him, but we'll offer him the Hall of Fame now since he's not here. And the family right now, they're not interested within the Hall of Fame, but they are trying to keep that hope of like that his name is what got baseball still going right now. Because I wasn't around, but my dad, when he was younger, and this is similarity to what you said with listening to the game of baseball, he would listen to the game, but then he would have when he was able to afford TV, he would mute the TV, but have the radio system on so that he can listen to Marty Brenneman do the announcing with Al Michaels, who does NFL, but before NFL, he did the announcing for the Reds with Brenneman, and so for him that was like a treat. And nowadays, you don't really get that attention. Like me, I enjoy listening to baseball more than I do watching it, unless I'm watching it in person.
Okay.
And honestly, like after this recent passing of him, I feel like we're at that point where are we really going to hate baseball forever, or is this going to be like the short time term where we'll hate it, this decision, but then down the road, if we see something where if someone else got banned, like doing the steroid trial gimmick, like let's say someone who was banned for assault, but yet had a good amount of stat line, kind of like how Rose did, magically ends up in the Hall of Fame before Babe Johnson. That's where it becomes a problem.
Right. Okay. All right. So I just want to go into a little more detail about Pete Rose and how MLB used him for their cause.
Now, when he got out of prison, because he did do a short term, it was like 6 months. It was supposed to be 3 years, but they let him off early. So what happened was when he got out of jail, he went to the batting cage down the road because he asked the security guard, hey, where's the batting cage at? And so he told him where to go. It was like right down the road. And this is in Cincinnati. And so he puts in the coins, and people were trying to figure out who it was at first. And he just hits the ball so hard that it did some damage on the cage of the ball broiler. And you could see his bat from what fans were saying at the time. Well, the fans that are still alive that were there at that moment, they were surprised how strong he was hitting the bat. And they were like, you should go to the pros. And he's like, I was in the pros. Now I'm not anymore. And then people realized who it was.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I mean, if you just think about the stuff that other baseball players that's in the Hall of Fame did, and I'm not just saying baseball, but football and basketball did in the past. I know there's something way worse than what they did than Pete Rose did, and I totally understand the situation, but that to me, Charlie Hustle, his play deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And if you want to put an asterisk behind him, so be it. But he needs to be in the Hall of Fame. All right, guys. Next up, WNBA right now. Lynx is halftime. Lynx got 36 and Liberty got a 44. I believe the New York Liberty is going to be the first team in New York history in a while to win a championship. They're going to celebrate.
Can I say something about Charlie Hustle?
Go ahead.
If Phil Jackson is not in the Hall of Fame because he cheated, Pete Rose does not belong to be in there either.
But for people that don't know, talk about why he's not in the Hall of Fame. He did cheat, but tell us how he cheated.
The ban was for the benefit of high-end gamblers. He was working with gamblers.
So do you think that? So Pete Rose bet on baseball. He never betted against his team to lose, right? He always bet on the team to win.
Was it against the rules when he did it?
Yes, it was.
That's the same thing that happened to Shoeless Joe Jackson, who had a 356 batting average. Career batting average. It's not in the Hall of Fame.
But okay, so I'm gonna say this. Back when he did it, it just probably was more financial gain for him back then than it would be for Pete Rose now. You know, I don't know.
Of course, it was 1919.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think there was more of a monetary. It's probably more of a monetary factor for him back in 1990 than it is for Pete Rose when he did. I don't know if Pete Rose. I did think Pete Rose might have had a gambling problem, but I don't think it made it. It didn't.
Would you like to know how much money he wasted?
How much?
And they asked him this, and he said $100 million. Wow. Because that's how much he could have gotten if he would have not done that. So you gotta think, like, he betted like a certain amount, not a big amount, but a certain amount. Like, imagine if his career were to continue with him coaching and then to managing, it would have been astonishing on what amount he could have done. You probably would have seen him on MLB TV announcing games in the mid-2000s. Exactly. Think about how much more he could have charged if he was a Hall of Famer.
Touche. But I just think that his play on the field, to me, overrides the stuff he did off the field.
He tarnished the shield.
So
just like Joe Jackson, just like every guy that did steroids after it was said to be unallowable.
Okay, so if you look at the steroid situation, when the Bushes owned the Texas Rangers, they came out and said that they didn't care if their baseball players did steroids, and there's players that play for Texas Rangers that should be in the Hall of Fame, probably not in the Hall of Fame because of that. But the owners allowed it to happen. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, they were giving them the shot.
But again,
the trainers were giving them the shot.
Yeah, and again, and that's what I'm saying. That's my whole point, though. You can't have it both ways, because how can MLB use Pete Rose to make money when he banned him, but then don't want to put him in the Hall of Fame? That's the part that really bothers me, because if you're done with him, you're done with him. Don't bring him back and use him to your benefit. You know what I'm saying? But the man loved the game so much he didn't even care. That's where
I think there's only one fair way.
what's the fair way?
Asking every Hall of Famer that's still alive, do you think that Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame?
So
Because that's the people he's going to be with.
So let me ask you this question. Do you think Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame?
Of course I do. Barry Bonds was great before he started taking steroids.
So
But he messed up. He got caught. He lied about it too. I think because Andy Pettitte came out and lied about it, Andy Pettitte was able to resurrect his career. People don't hate him anymore. He won't get into the Hall of Fame because he's a steroid guy. But he doesn't have the negative connotation that McGuire, Sosa, and Barry Bonds have.
And Canseco. So Barry Bonds said that he used cream and he never shot up steroids. Am I not correct?
That boy's head guy twice the size now.
He couldn't wear the cap that he wore at Pittsburgh.
That dude's neck got huge, man.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, this is where I fall out with Major League Baseball because Major League Baseball is so hypocritical. And I heard somebody mention steroids and different things, and these guys are not in the Hall of Fame because they were using steroids. But Major League Baseball does that for themselves. Y'all remember back when they used to say, chicks dig the long ball. Chicks dig the long ball. I knew that's where you're going. Yes. They were pushing this. They were pushing this thing. And they knew these guys were doing steroids. They knew it. But baseball was starting on the decline. So they needed something to revive it. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, the way they got revived, those guys were hammering the ball out the park at a alarming rate. So they had, wait a minute, let's pump the brakes here. But you mentioned Pete Rose, like you used him. That's another example of them being hypocritical. And you say he's banned for life. Okay, his life's over. Put him in the Hall of Fame.
I was going to bring that.
I mean, but he should have been in the Hall of Fame. He should have been in the Hall of Fame. Just like you always say, give a person their flowers when they can smell them.
Yeah.
They should have put him in the Hall of Fame 25 years ago.
And that was going to be my next thing. They banned him for life now. His life is gone, so put him in. And I'm just saying because you use in everything that you said, Curry, is the reason why baseball is not America's game no more. I mean, you look at it. I as much as I love the Dodgers, I can't sit and watch. Huh?
It's also because we can't beat the rest of the world in it anymore.
That might be it.
So it ain't America's game no
more. And that might be something else too. But I'm telling you, as much as I love the Dodgers, I can't sit and watch a 9-inning game. I just can't. I've turned in something else. I just can't do it, man. It's just not my cup of tea to watch it for 9 innings.
Well, you banned Pete Rose because he bet on baseball, and Pete had an excuse. Whether you bought into his excuse or not, he had an excuse. Well, why didn't you ban Ohtani? He bet on baseball. He had an excuse, but they bought his excuse where they didn't buy Pete Rose's excuse.
Okay. I could agree with that. Okay, so let's move on. Unless we got some more about Pete Rose. But as I was saying earlier, New York Liberty 46 is 46-40. It's beginning of the second quarter now. The third quarter with 8 minutes 27 seconds left. The Lynx and the New York Liberty are in the WNBA Finals. Next year, ladies and gentlemen, the WNBA Finals will be a best of 7 series, which should have been from the beginning. At the beginning, it shouldn't be no 5-game series. It's just I don't know. It just don't. I mean, it's the WNBA. And speaking of WNBA, so now some of the players are getting upset because they're being asked some difficult questions, and now the reporters are being called a sexist. What's the word I'm trying to say here? monotonous or whatever it is. They're getting upset because they're asking them difficult questions or hard questions, or they question about their game. All right. And now I have a problem with that because you want to be in the limelight. You want to be in the limelight. You want to be known as WNBA. You want to get the recognition that you want to get. So you got to whatever it comes with the recognition, it comes some pain, right? And if the reporter asks you a difficult question, you need to answer it. Stop being so soft about it because you can't have it both ways. You just can't have it both ways. Just think about how hard Charles Barkley is on the NBA players. My God, he tells it like it is all the time. You know what I'm saying? And he doesn't sugarcoat it at all. If he were to talk about the WNBA, he'd probably have them ladies crying sometime because that's how hard he is. But now I'm not going to back you. I'm not backing the WNBA if you're getting mad because reporters asking you a difficult question about why you went 1 for 5, and you had 6 turnovers and you didn't get any rebounds. Yo, that's part of the game. You got to answer the question. You gotta be truthful. I had a bad game. My mind wasn't there, or they just played better. They just defended me better than what I thought they was going to defend me better. But you gotta answer those difficult questions. And so I think WNBA, if you want to be at the top of the notch, and you really want to be seen, you want to be heard, then you got to deal with the reporters come to you, with the analysts come to you, and if they're tough on you, they're tough on you, and you just gotta deal with it. Answer the question and move on. Don't be so sensitive about what's going on with them. But anyway, again, they're going to 7-game series in the WNBA. NFL football. Let's do college football because we will. Let's see, we almost at an hour right now. Let's do college football.
Yeah.
Before we get to NFL. My mouse is like disappearing on me. Okay, here we go. So, college football rankings. Texas #1, Ohio State #2, Oregon's 3, Penn State 4, Georgia's 5, Miami is 6, Alabama 7, Tennessee's 8, Ole Miss is 9, Clemson is #10, Iowa State and Notre Dame is 11, tied for 11. I don't know how that happened. LSU is 13, BYU is 14, Texas A&M is 15. And the UTEP, Utah, 16. Boise is 17. Indiana and Oklahoma are tied at 18. And Kansas all tied at 18. So Missouri is 21. Pitt is 5-0. They're 22. Illinois is 23. Michigan is 24. And SMU is 25. So Alabama loses to Wake Forest.
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt. I'm sorry, Vanderbilt. Do you guys think that was a letdown from that game against Georgia? Because even though Alabama is not Alabama of the past, everybody's coming at Alabama like they still like they won a national championship because they just that good, you know. With Alabama losing,
I feel
that puts them #7.
I feel like both teams were drained out because Alabama, honestly, they lost that game due to being drained. And even Georgia last weekend when they played Auburn at one point, you can make the argument Auburn could have came in and did the upset on them, but Georgia was managed to motivate their players to the energy, while Bama was unable to energize and motivate their players to get a simple win. Because at Vanderbilt, that whole stadium is usually Alabama fans, and on that game, it's normally only a high standard for Bama to get an easy win right there. But like Nick Saban said, the toughest place to get a win in the SEC is at Vanderbilt. And I was actually on the phone this past Sunday morning with the third string quarterback's dad who was at the game. And they legit were about ready to throw his son in on a trick out play because that's how easy it was for Vanderbilt to do damage to Bama.
So let me ask you guys a question. The Georgia and Alabama game was great. It was one of the best games I've seen in a long time. You know they're rivals. Should your rival game be next to the last game? Let's say the last game of the season before you have your conference championship game, or do you think you should play it the first, like the second or third week of the season, where you got your cupcakes in there, and then your first conference rivalry should that be a rivalry game at the beginning of the season, or do you think it should be at the end of the season? Because watching Alabama play that game against Vanderbilt, Vanderbilt went out there to act like they had nothing to lose. They're like, look, if we lose to them, we're supposed to lose. So let's go out and win the game. And they did that. Now, does Alabama have any defense? Did we not see that against Georgia? The second half of the game against Georgia, second half, the second and third, because Georgia came back and took the lead. So the question is, does Alabama is their defense good enough to get them to the national championship game this year? I gotta say no, because you almost lose to Georgia, and Georgia comes. Alabama comes back after that, and I think we got looked like we got Rich on the line with us. I think Rich is on the line because he felt like San Francisco's up 16-0. So I think he feels comfortable now that he can come on the show and talk football with us. Hey, Rich, how you doing?
That's crazy.
So, Rich, we're talking about college football. So, give us your take on Alabama. What do you think Alabama's defense is suspect? Because we saw what they did the second half against Georgia, and Vanderbilt put up was 47 points, right? It was what 47, 41 or something like that. I believe it was.
Yeah, something like that.
So, what do you think Alabama is it? Okay, 40. It was 40 to 35. So they gave up 35 points 2 weeks in a row. And I'm just gonna pull up the Vanderbilt's game. So in the first half they gave up 13, gave up 10. The third quarter they gave up 7, and the last quarter they gave up 10. So do you think apparently it's not the offense, it may be the defense. So what do you think is Alabama right now that they lost to Vanderbilt team that's not even ranked in the national standings? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's coaching.
I think it's coaching.
I think that, I think it's coaching. I mean, I think they have the talent to play at a high level. I just think that I don't know if they have the coaching, and like it's a lot of the stuff they're dealing with is new this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it just comes down to coaching. I think next year they'll be better.
Okay. Mo,
end of the season they'll be better.
Okay. Mo, you're an NC State fan, right? Who is their arch rival team, and when do they play them?
UNC. It's always the end of the year. That's why Georgia plays Georgia Tech though.
But that's
Alabama
not. That's not.
Those are their rivals.
Yeah, but come on, stop.
It's in state, bro. It's always in state.
I know, but it's not a rival.
Those teams are in. I mean, Auburn and Alabama in the SEC, but Georgia and Alabama are rivals just because they're both good right now.
Right.
Auburn and Alabama have the Iron Bowl. That's been there for like years.
So they can't play that at the beginning of the year?
I would say they play it at the beginning of the year. They don't play in rivalry weeks though because they're not rivals. They're not their biggest rival. And you know what? The funny thing about it is, I got to tell you this. I wasn't going to watch the Georgia-Alabama game. Remember, I told you I wasn't going to watch it.
Yeah.
I watched the first half, and Alabama was blowing them out, so I went home. I never saw the ending. I never saw the second half.
Georgia lit them up.
They didn't win, though, so I didn't miss anything. Yeah. I knew Alabama was going to win.
Curry, who's your college football team? Is it NC State?
No, Carolina.
Okay, that's right. I forgot you're a Carolina guy. So who's their rival team? Is it Duke?
In basketball, it is.
What about football?
Uh, I don't know that they really got a rival in.
Don't try that, Curry. Don't try that.
Because the Tar Heels don't really have a real big focus on football. So I mean, they're a basketball school, so I mean, you might get a good game here and there with Duke and State, but they're not a football school.
Real funny.
Mo, go ahead, chime in, Mo. Go ahead, chime in.
No. He being funny. That's okay. That's okay. Okay.
Oh,
the thing about it is, all the teams, Duke, Wake Forest, all of them are so close to each other. They're all major rivals. But it's NC State and it's UNC in football because Wake Forest has really never been good. Duke is just getting good now.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna. I know what he's saying. There used to be a time when NC State was the rival with Carolina in basketball before Duke actually got on the scene in the 80s and before Coach K. It was NC State and Carolina. That was the rival. And then when Coach K came on, then Duke kind of took a back seat to that rival.
Yeah.
And now it's Duke and Carolina. But football, nah.
Okay.
We always play the rivalry game. I don't think it has a name to it, though.
They need to get one. One. So Matthew, you're Oregon guy, right? No, you're a Washington Husky.
I'm a Washington guy.
So who is their rivalry team?
So our rivalry, well, we got two rivalries, but the big one is usually Washington State.
When's the last time Washington State beat y'all?
Within history. What was that?
When's the last time Washington State beat Washington?
A few weeks ago.
Well, I mean, y'all down right now, but prior to that, when was the last time?
So within the last decade, we've probably lost them only twice.
Okay, and so now you've been a fan. Do you really consider them your rivalry team?
Back then, like 8 years ago, yes. Now it's more so we're leaning towards Oregon as a rivalry.
Okay, I would agree with that.
We've beaten them 4 times in a row.
Okay.
Like we beat them at Oregon, at home, at the Pac-12 championship game when it was the Pac.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like if we beat them again this year, which the way the rivalry is now with them is it's on the last week of college football. Because normally it's the Washington State series, but that got moved to September because we're not in that same conference.
Right.
And a lot of fans on both sides were upset about it. Like, yeah, obviously Washington is always going to win 8 times out of the 10 every 10 years, but the rivalry is something that keeps the fan base is arguing with each other and it gets national attention each year.
Okay. Rich, who's your college football team?
Seminoles, ours is Florida.
Okay, so Seminoles is Florida State is Miami, right? That's their
yeah, or Miami. I mean, he could go either way. It just depends on who you're talking to.
Well, see, now if Dana was on, he would say Florida State. He would say Florida State because what's his name? What's the coach? Bobby Bowden.
Yeah.
Field goal left, field goal right, field goal never went straight, or something of that nature. So that would be Miami's rivalry, and again that's a rivalry that I remember Me like at Penn State, Penn State's rivalry to me, it's not Ohio State, it's not Michigan. To me, it was Pitt, and regardless what the record was, it was always a good game. So now Penn State has to find a team that's a rivalry team. Now Maryland tried to be the rivalry team the one year, and they got smacked around, and so they just put the tail between their legs and ran off. But Penn State really doesn't have a rivalry team right now. Now I'm gonna say this: I would love for it to be USC. That's a
I thought it
rivalry.
was Kent State. I was just about ready to say that. So.
You said Kent State.
Well, Akron Zips. I could see you guys and USC being a rivalry, and like down the road, have like a commercial ad like before the game with rivalry history. Which that's what they're trying to do this weekend on CBS. Yeah. Like they already got throwback footage when you guys last play against each other.
Yeah, because like Ohio State, their rivalry is definitely Michigan all the time. Has always been Michigan, you know. But Penn State plays Michigan State for the Liberty Bell or the ring the bell or some type of bell or some chug or a jar or something. I don't know, but it don't make any sense because they've been smacking Michigan State around since they've been in the Big Ten. So I don't consider that as a rivalry. But again, Penn State and Pitt was always a rivalry when I was a kid growing up with Tony Dorsett, Dan Marino, those dudes. That was always a good game, you know. So I think sometimes I just think that the rivalry should be, if not the last game, but next to the last game. Like, for example, my high school team, they played Bishop McDevitt, which they've been running from us for the last 2 or 3 years. Excuse me, because they just didn't want to play us, and they were talking trash. And we finally got a chance to play them this year out there, and they did it. They had to do they told me that coaches had to do a coin flip to where the game was going to be played at, right? And the game's played at McDevitt, and McDevitt didn't even give Harrisburg any tickets to sell. They took the whole gate themselves. They was just that greedy. They took the whole gate. They did not give any tickets to Harrisburg to sell at all. We went out there, was losing the game. We ended up going in overtime. We win the game in overtime, right? It was just joy. It was joy to beat. And the thing about it is like where Harrisburg High is. Rich knows where Harrisburg High is, where McDevitt used to be at. They're right down the street from each other. So it used to call it the Battle of Market Street, and so they would walk to each other's stadium and play back in the day. Now McDevitt moved out in the boonies, so we got to ride a bus out there. But they played. That was their second game of the season, and remember we played LaSalle College the first game and got smacked 45-7, something like that. Reason being is our quarterback was ineligible. Starting quarterback we had, they said he couldn't play this year. Then our left tackle, who is a 5-star, probably going to Penn State, broke his foot. So they had to get a new left tackle. They had to get a new quarterback against McDevitt, and we still ended up winning, which was a testament to the football team because nobody believed they could win but the team. To be honest with you, I felt like we could win. I felt that we had a chance to win regardless. I think we had the better athletes, but after that game and they played other teams, it was not the same. You could tell by the kids that they wasn't up for the other games. Now, and Rich lives right across the river from me. He can contest to this. The Mid-Penn Conference that we have usually has at least 3 teams making it to the playoffs. This year, we'd be lucky in the 6A to have Harrisburg probably the only team that gets in the playoffs because the Mid-Penn is not as good as it used to be. It's not as good as it was in the past. And so we have CD East Panthers, which I call our little baby brothers because they want to be the Harrisburg Cougars. They're named the Panthers. Then we have the CD Rams, and then we have Cumberland Valley, who was on top of the world for a minute, and now they've been knocked off the perch because of Harrisburg. But they're 5-1, and they've had some ugly wins. since then because they were so up for that one game. And I felt like, I said to the AD, who's the head coach, I said, maybe we should play that game at the end of the year. I said, and if it's one loss, it's not going to really matter because it's one loss. I said, but it hypes the season up. It gives the kids something to look forward to at the end of the year because, like, Chambersburg, I can't remember last time we lost to Chambersburg. We beat them like 32. It's like Mercy Rule, but almost by halftime. Carlisle, Mercy Rule by halftime. You know what I'm saying? And that they had some. They played State College and they beat them 7-6, and they blocked the extra point. I mean, blocked the field goal to win the game. It was good. It was a good defensive game. But that's the game they played after they played McDevitt. So you could see that the hype of the game didn't really matter to them as much as the McDevitt game did. So I'm just saying, I think sometimes you make that rival game the end of the season, that makes that season so much. That gives you something to look forward to at the end of the year. You know, so I just think that I think sometimes you should do that, and I think that makes your season a whole lot better than what it would be. Hey, Rich, I was telling
Hey, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
Before you go, I want to put this because there's a lot of people listening to this show that probably don't understand that the Duke, Carolina, or the State Carolina, the North Carolina Tar Heels against NC State. The overall record is Tar Heels 68, 39, and 6. Now, how's that a rivalry?
Ooh,
that ain't no rivalry.
Somebody did the homework.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Please let me finish. Let me finish. Now, let's flip over here to the basketball side of it. No. Carolina, let me finish the basketball. Let me finish. Then I'll let you talk.
Mo, let me finish. Let me finish, Mo.
You don't want to hear it. Listen to me.
Because it's true. Because we watched so much in the 70s and 80s.
Hey, the Tar Heels in the basketball is 166 to 81 all time against NC State. 38-7 in the last 45 games.
Wow.
So how's that a rivalry?
Wait a minute. What was that? What was that percentage? What's that percentage?
What percentage?
You said
38-7 in the last 45 games. You do the math on that, bro.
38-7. Okay, so that's like 5-1, right?
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, that's close.
You do the math on that. That ain't no rivalry.
Okay. Kev, NC State has won 6 of the last 8 football games. 8 of the last 12.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that ain't no rivalry.
That's no but. You only as good as your last game.
That's not no rivalry.
And you lost your last game. And both. Who went to the Final Four last year? Who did we beat to get to the Final Four?
That ain't no rival, dude.
Who did we beat to get to the Final Four?
That don't matter.
We beat UNC and Duke. Both of y'all went home because of rival.
That's not a rival.
Yeah, you're right. That's not a problem.
The overall record is going to be close.
You're only as good as your last game, bro.
Well, did you win your last one?
No, but we beat y'all the last time we played. Okay. I went out in 16. You went out in
Oh, okay.
Oh,
okay.
Hey, Kev, you know what the NC State fans don't understand about them? They were getting ready to fire that coach. They were getting ready to fire him. Which one? The coach for NC State basketball. Yeah, they were ready to fire him. And this guy got an extension. This guy got an extension by default because it's in his contract that if he made it to the Sweet 16, he'd get a raise. And then if he made it to a next level, he got an extension. So based on his contract, they didn't have no choice but to give him a raise. Now he's going to be back there next year with that same tacky coaching job that he was been doing all along, and they're going to be forced to fire him after giving him a huge raise.
Oh, is that right? Is that right, Mo?
Yeah, he's right. There's no question to it. He's right. I ain't even gonna argue with him because he's right. But they're not gonna fire him because they're gonna give him another chance to actually rebuild the team because they lost two of their best players. Actually, three, because the center went pro and didn't get drafted. I think he went overseas. Well, both centers. And then the guard wasn't going to get drafted. Horn was too short. DJ Horn was too short. DJ Burns was too fat. Dawa should have stayed in if he stayed for one more year.
I think Matthew.
But they lost the best three players.
Matthew, what you about to say?
So you're talking about high school football. I posted it about a week and a half ago on the QB on the high school.
Yes.
I went to, but I still consider it as my high school. He is now he's a junior in high school, and he is still at number one in the nation at passing yards in Max Prep's stats, as he has 3,178 passing yards. And he's a junior, 5'9", 165.
And you know what though? What's going to happen too is he's a recruiting tool because he's going to bring some more talent there.
And he's only a junior.
Exactly, he's going to bring some talent there for his senior year.
And in his last game, he had 364 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and only 2 INTs, and they still gave him a QBR of 96.8.
Well, they just trying to be funny.
And the weird thing is, his highest game this year, he had 8 passing touchdowns, 1 INT, 521 passing yards, with a QBR rating of a 138.
Matthew.
And his highest passing yard game, which was the first game of the season, was 627 passing yards.
Wow. Let me ask you a question: Is what classification is he in?
Like division?
Yeah, like you guys, like with here in Pennsylvania, you have single A, double A, triple A, quad A, and
so here in Ohio, we go by like the college standards, like Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. This is Division 1 mixed with Division 2, but the varsity that he's on is Division 1.
So let me ask you, how many kids are in the high school? Is it over? Not high school. Not over high school. Through like the district.
On the team.
No, district wide. How many? Like Harrisburg has over 6,000 kids in the district, so that puts them at a 6A school. If they would go under 5,000, they would be a 5A school.
So in the area that he's in, which is Lima, Ohio, so there's other townships and towns beside it. It's so populated within the young community, like the students. The city of Lima only has one high school, and they let the other townships be their own districts.
Okay.
So Lima City Schools, there is only one high school, but there's a lot of students in there where they have, I believe, 4 floors or 3.
Okay.
But man, they got a nice high school football stadium, though.
Okay.
They really do. Because when I played, when I was in junior high, I didn't get to do high school football with them, but when I was in junior high, we were the first team to use the new stadium turf and the scoreboard, like a digital, where we could watch the replays of ourselves.
Okay, that's cool.
And let me tell you, man, that stadium, it felt nice. Like you could probably sit around, if it sold out, you could probably sit around 2,000, maybe 2,500 if you had extra standing room. And I just seen that they did renovations on the stadium again. So now there's like a private park in there with a water fountain on the other end.
Oh, man. That's what's up.
And if I would have played high school football there, my head coach would have been Archie Griffin's son. Andre Griffin.
They got money. That's all I can say. They got some money. They got some money.
But he didn't do too well there. But the coach that they got now, he was a coach at Urbana College out of Georgia, and they brought him back up to Lima because he did a stint in a town over in Canton, Ohio, and then Lima Senior gave him the phone call, and he accepted it this
Hey,
season, and they're 7-0 right now.
how far are you from Canton?
So I live in Columbus.
Oh, okay. So you're on the other side.
So I'm about an hour and a half.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hour.
Okay. Hey.
Now I'm about an hour out from and 20 out from Lima.
Okay. Cause I went to Wilberforce University out in Ohio. It's closer to the western part of I think Ohio. Dayton
So
Central State.
So the closest college on the western part of the state with football, or just in general, and you can make an argument with Dayton, and then you got Toledo, Bowling Green.
Yeah.
And then Cincinnati, but that's about it.
Okay, real quick, ladies and gentlemen. Guardians 5, final 5-4 against Detroit is tied up 2-2, so they're going into the 5th game. Yankees is up 3-0, bottom of the 6th, 2 outs, and that game is on TBS. I know Mo got that somewhere watching it as well. So let's talk about some football, guys. The New York Jets. So the story came out.
I got some scoops on
that my man Robert Saleh was getting ready to get fired. But before he's getting ready to get fired, they said that he's gonna fire Hackett, the offensive coordinator. The owner comes out and says, I did this on my own. I had no influence on it at all. I did this. Now, Aaron Rodgers said he had nothing to do with this guy being fired. Then I think he came back out and said something today. I didn't get a chance to watch any sports today about him being fired. But I'm gonna say this is why I don't think Aaron Rodgers had anything to do with him being fired, because they demoted Hackett, so somebody else is going to be the offensive coordinator. So Hackett's going to be what was he doing when Green Bay Mo when Aaron Rodgers was there? He was the quarterback coach or something.
Nothing.
And that's what he's gonna be doing.
Well, he was the offensive coordinator.
Okay, so that's what he's gonna be doing now. Nothing, because they demoted him. So that's why I don't think Aaron Rodgers really had anything to do with that. Because if he did, he would have the Hackett thing would not have happened. But again, I don't think Robert Saleh should have got fired. As bad as Jets
I don't
looking.
think so either.
As bad as Jets is looking, I don't think it should have been fired. And
now there are sources on other reasons why he was fired, into which I got right in front of my screen right now.
All right, let's talk about it.
And the New York Jets decline, and we won't really know on how he got fired. Like, we don't know if it was like the organization, the players, the team, or whatever. But there are some sources within the NFL that the Jets immediately declined. And this is where you can make an argument for it. During the press conference after the game, he's wearing the Jets hoodie, the normal black Jets hoodie. But on the Jets hoodie, and a lot of people don't know this, Robert Saleh has Lebanese descent.
What?
So he decided to represent his descent country and all. And the press conference by wearing a little sticker patch that you can sew, like a quick sew, into it, and there's report that the organization did not like that idea of him going with the patch.
So let me ask you a question. That hoodie that he wore, was that the first time he wore it, or That's the first time he had that patch on.
I believe so.
So this is more of a political move than anything else.
From the reports that I've been seeing, the people that were pushing on the organization I'm questioning, they pushed it as a political. Salo, if he's pushing it as like a family thing, because he does have family members within that area,
Okay.
which I totally respect within his own priority.
Right.
But at the same time, you can make an argument as a political based off the events that are going on right now overseas.
Okay. Okay.
And Woody Johnson, I guess, was very upset. I'm going to use that as a PG word, not as what's said within the TMZ article. Which it says that he was PI over the fact that he cut ties with the coach, allegedly. But he's immediately declining that. Now, last season, he wore a different clothing item that represented that country's flag about a few weeks after the current event that was going on overseas to support his own family heritage. And allegedly at that time, the owner was also upset also, but the Jets organization is going to immediately decline. And we won't know if this is actually going to be true or not unless Salah comes out and says, the reason why I was fired was because of this.
Yeah, and he's not going to do that because he should get another job.
That's a liability. That's like risking it all on your career.
Exactly.
So he would take the Rodgers blame, in my opinion, than he would what could be the reality of what was the reason.
Right. I agree. Hey, Rich, when you get a chance, send your picks through on the inbox. I didn't get a chance to add up last week's picks either. So and Matthew didn't do his, and Dana sending me his. So if you send it to me in the chat, I would appreciate that. Hey, Rich, question for you. Who's gonna be the next coach on the hot seat to maybe get fired?
I'm gonna say Mike McDaniel.
For the Dolphins?
They just haven't. The Dolphins have not looked good at all.
His name.
Offensively, I understand they should be taking a step back, but there is enough talent for any quarterback to get the ball to. Like, they have talent. The defense, I mean, they lost Phillips again, but again, there's more guys on the team than just him.
Okay.
So I'm thinking McDaniel might be on the hot seat. If I'm the owner, he's on the hot seat.
And his name has come up as well. Mo, who you think this next coach is on the hot seat?
Sorry, Kev, I was talking to my son. What were you saying?
Tell your son I said hello. I said, who's the next coach on the hot seat? They could be fired.
For which MLB?
No, NFL.
Oh, NFL. Oh, it's definitely Jacksonville. Even though they just won last week. He's definitely on. Well, you mean maybe not on the hot seat right now, but the next one on the hot seat.
Yeah.
So your boy Kevin Stefanski is already on there too.
Nah, he's not gonna get fired. Now I'm gonna tell you why. Doug Peterson, Curry, who do you think is next on the hot seat that could be fired?
I would say Zach Taylor, Cincinnati, because ever since that Super Bowl appearance, they've done nothing but decline. But I would like to hone in on that Aaron Rodgers thing when you get back to it.
Okay. Matthew, who do you think could be the next coach to get fired?
Much as I believe in the massage tables of Stefanski's office, I feel like I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the weekend if we find out if Zach Taylor gets fired or not.
So you think Zach Taylor too?
'Cause Cincinnati right now is sloppy.
Ooh. That's
And, and I'll tell you what, like you got all the talent on offense that money could buy, but when you look at defense, shoot, me, you, Mo, and Curry and Dana can do better than what the Cincinnati Bengals defense is doing.
Oh,
Shoot, we'll have you at nose guard. I'll be up there at safety. We'll have Dana right beside you, and Mo can be the punt returner.
I gotta go with Zach Taylor too. I gotta go with Zach. But Mo, I'm gonna tell you why Stefanski's not gonna get fired from Cleveland. Because what I'm reading is Stefanski and the GM was not all in on the Deshaun Watson hire. And what happened there was, if you remember, somebody left. I think Rich left. He might be coming back. What happened was, if you remember, they offered him a contract, and then I can't remember who the other team was. They came in with another bid for him, and then Cleveland came back and outbidded him and guaranteed all this money. That was from the owner, right? So the owner's pushing this narrative of Deshaun Watson. This is why Stefanski keeps saying that he's going to be the starting quarterback against Philadelphia. Clearly you could tell that I still don't think he's 100% healthy with his shoulder. And I know there's issues with the offensive line, and I think these are all the reasons why he doesn't want to bench him, because of that, because of the offensive line, number one, because Nick Chubb's not being there. I think Nick Chubb kind of settled things down. You got Ngochu, he's back right now, so I just think there's some issues that need to be addressed first before they really actually look about moving him around. And the sad part about it, not the sad part about it, but I think that the fans are more disappointed is that the young lady that came out that said that he sexually assaulted her, he paid her off now. So she's not cooperating with the NFL. So now they don't have nothing on him. So they can't even the money. So his money is kind of like guaranteed to him now, because if he would have got fined or suspended, then his money wouldn't have been guaranteed no more. And then they could have just released him. They've been a hookup for some money, but not a lot, not as much as it would have been if they try to release him at the end of the season. So, but that's what I'm reading, is that Stefanski wasn't 100% down with him coming there, and neither was the GM. That was all the owner. That was all Haslam doing on why he's there now. And the funny part about it is, you look at Baker Mayfield, and you're surrounded by players and talent. You get him off the line. Look how well he's doing. So it was Cleveland. It was definitely Cleveland. Even though I think he was arrogant, but I think he got knocked down a little bit. And now that he's got knocked down, he treasures every time he gets on the football field. It's Baker Mayfield that I'm speaking of. So those are coaches that, Rich got Mike Daniels, Doug Peterson, and we got Zach. Curry, Matthew, and myself got Zach. I don't think Doug Peterson is too far behind him right now. But one coach we didn't think about talking to, and I'm gonna say this: if Cleveland plays Philadelphia this weekend, if Cleveland beats Philadelphia, you might as well add Nick's name to that, because we know that they have a love-hate relationship in Philly with those two, with their coach and the quarterback. But Curry, go ahead. You had something you want to say about Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, see, here's the problem in New York. They don't want to hurt Rodgers' feelings. They don't want to say the wrong thing to him or about him. Now, let's look at 2023. Rodgers supposed to came in and took been the savior for them. He comes in, plays one series, and he's out for the whole year. That's it. Now fast forward to 2024. Mini camps, he's not there. OTAs, he's not there. Mandatory camps, he's not there. Now you done missed the whole year. You should have had your butt in there building a chemistry with your wide receivers, your running backs, your offensive line, so everybody's clicking on the same page. But no, he's got a previous commitment. He can't be there. Now, how do you have a previous commitment from a job that's paying you millions and millions of dollars? What's more important than that than your job? If you're there to help this team get to the next level, but you're not even there when they need you the most, and it's showing up in the games right now. Look at he's not throwing good passes. He's not on the same page with his receivers. He's not on the same page with his offensive line. He's screaming at them, and the running back can't get off the blocks. I mean, the team is unorganized, and this is not Robert Saleh's fault. Because Robert Saleh has had a pretty good defense. The problem is on the offense. But you didn't hear about that Hackett. What's the guy's name? Nathaniel Hackett, whatever his name is. You didn't hear about him getting fired. And Sean Payton said that was the worst job of coaching that he's ever seen when Hackett was in Denver.
Yeah,
so
they
I say that to say this, they don't want to hurt Aaron Rodgers' feelings. So they keep his buddy. They let Aaron Rodgers bring in all these players that he wanted. Yeah, you want that player? Okay, we'll bring him in. You want this player? Okay, cool, we're going to bring him in. So you let him basically be the GM. You let him coach the team. He's standing over there on the sideline all last year with headphones on, doing what? So Aaron Rodgers is a fraud, like I've been trying to tell y'all all along. Stop drinking that Aaron Rodgers Kool-Aid. And you ought to see now, it's not there. Aaron Rodgers is not. Don't try to compare him to Tom Brady. Yes, Tom Brady came back and did all this and that at 40 years old. Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old. But Tom Brady didn't have an injury since 2008.
Right.
So he was always in health. Tom Brady was the type of person that took care of his body all the time. Aaron Rodgers don't do that, and you can see that. So, but that's the thing, man. They don't want to hurt his feelings, but they talk junk about every quarterback that they had. There's Zach Wilson and Sam Darnold and all those guys. And then Sam Darnold come back and whip them on Sunday.
Hey, Mo.
Yes, sir.
What's going on with the Yankees? Why are they out there fighting right now? What happened?
Good morning. You talking about that happened like 30 minutes ago?
Yeah, it just popped up on my.
What happened was it was the first baseman. Ball gets it to the first baseman. It was the guy on first. The first baseman steps on the bag, throws it to second. The Kansas City guy tries to knock the ball out of his hand like A-Rod did.
Okay.
At the base. And then Jazz Chisholm said something to him because, of course, Jazz Chisholm said that they got lucky to be in the series. So then he was talking to Jazz while the other Yankees were trying to get him off the field, and then both benches cleared.
Okay.
It was nothing.
All right. Okay. So we where we at here? So right now the Buffalo Bills are 3-2. They're leading the division. Baltimore Ravens 3-2. Pittsburgh's 3-2. Mo, let's talk about the game with Pittsburgh and Dallas. Dallas gives you the ball 3 times, and you guys don't take advantage of that. Is it something wrong with the offense? Because your boy.
We did though at the end.
Huh?
Justin Fields got a touchdown with 6 minutes left.
Yeah. Okay. I'm right. Right. But
I get you. We had 3 turnovers. We only scored 17 points.
yeah. So in Tom is still not committed to Fields
Yep.
as a starting quarterback as of yet, right?
I can tell you the 2 problems. We have 2 problems.
Mm.
With 3.
Okay.
We need a second wide receiver.
Okay.
Our center, right guard, and right tackle, the starters, are all out for the season.
Okay.
That's the problem on offense. On defense, we lost 3 outside linebackers across from TJ Watt. 2 of them got lost in the game against Dallas in the second and the third quarter. That's why we couldn't get to the quarterback on the fourth quarter, because all they did was single team the fifth offensive outside linebacker we had, and they triple teamed TJ Watt, and we couldn't get to him in the middle.
Okay.
And then the guys were tired. We couldn't get off the field.
Okay. All right.
Mo, you forgot one thing though. Also, how many players on your defense are out right now on injury?
Probably 5 or 6. But we got as many on our offense.
More
we
than that,
running back down too.
You got 9 players on defense that are out or on IR or doubtful, and you got 1 player on defense who's suspended.
Yeah, that's what you call it. That's Cam Sutton.
That's a
lot,
man.
He comes back week 9.
And with your guys' linebacker room, I'm looking at right now, you only have 1. Well, you don't have a safety linebacker. And
safety linebacker is the split. That we don't run that. We run a 3-4. We don't run a 4-3.
Well, explain to me why Al Tyson is out and Nick Herberg is out.
They're outside linebackers. Yeah, and also DeMarcus Leal is the other outside linebacker / defensive end. All 3 of them are out. Then you're talking about Cole Colbert
is on thin ice.
So
then on top of that, your linebacker room in general, you only have 1, 2, 3, 4 linebackers left in that room. Not including TJ Watt, but I consider him more as a Myles Garrett defensive and tackle.
He's not a defensive end because he drops in coverage. He drops in coverage. He's not a defensive end.
Hey, real quick, guys. The links.
Dude, you can make the difference all you want to. I know my team.
The links are up 84 to 83 with 5 seconds left in the fourth quarter. They about to still game 1 from the New York Liberty. Maybe they may not win a title. Ooh, that's crazy. And if you think about all our teams right now, all our teams is really suffering. Like the Rams. And I think the Rams. The problem with the Rams is that they just can't get right now. The offensive line is fixed, but it's not where it needs to be. I think once you get Cooper, Kupp, and Puka Nacua, Puka back, you should be okay. I think it's really hurting them is like Tyler Higbee is now he's out, and I don't know if he's gonna play this year because he had ACL situation last year against I think I can't remember who it was, the Raiders or somebody. The guy you could see that might have been San Francisco. I can't remember. Hit him at his knee and he messed his knee up, so he's been out. So that's a big part of their offense right there. Defensively, they're young. The Rams have who did they play this weekend? They played not Washington. I think who they lose to? Chicago. I think Chicago and the Rams have the youngest defense in the league right now. But again, we got a long ways to go. We at week 5, and we got 12 more weeks left to go. And if teams can get healthy on the back end, that should help them again. And and again, you look at the situation that's going on with all the teams, man. All the teams that we have somebody that's out that's significant. There's a significant player on our team that's hurting us from winning. Like Rich, what are you hearing about McCaffrey? Did he go to Germany or not? And do you expect him back anytime soon?
He went to Germany because he wanted to get a second opinion, just to see if there was anything he could do to get back faster. And they told him rest is the only thing that really can get rid of this tendonitis that he's dealing with. Right now, it looks like he's going to be coming back after the week 9 bye.
And it's his calf, right?
It's his tendonitis in his Achilles.
Ooh.
In both legs.
Both legs. Oh my goodness. That's a hard piece. That's a hurt piece right there.
I mean, he's on the sidelines walking around, and he's working out. You know, he's working on the sideline during practice. He's good. He'll be ready.
Okay. Curry, your Dolphins. They lost Sunday night. I think it was Sunday night game. They lost. What's the
won
Sunday? What's the news on Tua? Is he coming back? When is he coming back? And will he be healthy enough to play? Because sometimes these guys may. And the thing about it, you just get a hide a concussion, now you can't even hide it no more. And the only thing they're saying now is that maybe you need to get a helmet that can help protect you from getting another concussion. But what are you hearing right now?
Yeah, well, that's just another hypocritical situation of the NFL. Josh Allen got knocked out cold, and they let him back in the game. But that's another story for another day. But the Dolphins, I'm hearing that Tua should be back week 8 against Arizona. They're on a bye week this week. Then next week they have the Colts, and then the Arizona game, Tua should be back. And yes, he should be healthy enough to play. There's nothing wrong with his arm and legs and whatever. He probably, if he hadn't had the previous concussions, he probably would have been cleared to go last week. But based on his history of having concussions, and the Dolphins don't want to go down that road again where they get criticized for bringing him back too soon, or
right.
you don't care about the player. All you want to do is win. But people don't understand. This is not the Dolphins' decision. This is on Tua. If he wants to play, he can play. If he wants to walk away, he can walk away, and nobody's gonna be upset if he chose to walk away. But I think he'll be ready week 8.
Okay. Do they have the independent doctors now roaming the sidelines? I know that was talk of doing that.
They say they do, but I'm not so sure they do because, again, Josh Allen's son, he got knocked out. He was knocked out, and he got up and went in there and was getting ready to go to the tent, and they decided that, we got the ball back. So he said, "Fuck that, I'm going back in the game."
Yeah, you could clearly see that his bell had been rang really, really hard.
Yeah.
He was definitely out of it, man, and that just goes to show you that why you have players that retire from the NFL earlier than what they should, because they want to spend time with their family, they want to spend time with their kids, they want to be able to get to know their kids and things of that nature. And I mean,
he'll probably play Monday night. He should not be able to play Monday night.
Yeah. And these guys, I don't know if you guys ever heard me talk about this before, but I remember USA did a survey with NFL players. They said if you could take a pill, they could make you the best player for 10 to 12 years. But after you take this pill, you end up dying in 20. Would you do it? And 92% of the players said I would do it, because the financial gain that they would get for their family is the reason why they would do it. And so that just goes to show you what's most important. I mean, they do love playing the game of football, but you could clearly see that Josh Allen was out. And the thing about it is, once you get a concussion, you can easily get another one, because he did hit his head. And when he hit his head, I was like, yo, that's the same thing that happened to Tua. I said, but how did he get back in the game without going in the tip? And so they, it's rough. It is rough, man. It is just a rough thing. So we looking at the standings, American League, in Buffalo's 3-2, Baltimore's 3-2, Pittsburgh 3-2, Houston Texans 4-1, Kansas City Chiefs is 5-0. I want to talk about Houston real quick. They lost Nicole Collins. He's on IR, and the second half of the game they played C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud didn't look himself. So we're gonna find out who he really is this week coming up because he doesn't have Nico Collins. And there was talk about Devontae Adams going to Miami, going to Houston, going to Kansas City, which would be oh my goodness.
That ain't happening. The Raiders would never trade him to Kansas City.
Well, if you get the draft picks you want,
you never know. That's in the division.
I'm not
gonna happen.
I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen, but if they get what they want from them, and they want I don't think I heard what they wanted a second round pick. I didn't know what else they wanted. But if they get the second round pick,
they would take a first from Kansas City.
Yeah, I agree with that. They're not gonna help a division rival.
Who else was talk?
Pittsburgh, bro. Don't be trying to. You got a source for that?
Yeah, because I don't remember.
Devontae Adams.
I didn't hear Devontae.
No, none of them are Pittsburgh and Buffalo. The other two are Pittsburgh and Buffalo. Green Bay.
But see,
Green Bay. But it would be the New York Jets. He prefers New York or he prefers New Orleans. But he would be okay to go to Buffalo, Pittsburgh, and it was one other team. I can't remember the other team.
I think it might have been the Falcons.
Find it. It's easy to find.
But the thing about it is though, I think watching Buffalo game against, I don't know if you guys watched, but watching Buffalo game against Houston, and the last possession that Buffalo had the ball, I didn't understand none of the play call.
Oh, easy, Baltimore.
Baltimore probably. I don't know if Baltimore got enough money for him. They gonna have to.
I don't think they don't have the money, but they could move money or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, what these standings real quick?
Go ahead.
There's only one division that has a winning record.
That's NFC North.
That's the NFC North.
Yep, NFC North. NFC North.
You can't tell me at the beginning of the season that division was going to be the top division.
Exactly.
And right now, they're just proving everyone here wrong.
And you know what else? Why is Dallas' name not being mentioned for Devontae Adams? What is wrong with them?
Money.
You just gave money to the wide receiver.
He said Jerry Jones came out and said they don't have money.
But he said it about
he didn't want to pay $60 million.
But he said it about Henry too, which made no sense because you look at all the money you just spent right there. If you bring Henry in there,
he just signed that.
If you bring Henry,
$60 million a year.
If you brought Henry into Dallas, Dak. I bet you Dak don't ask for what he asked for. Now, CeeDee Lamb probably does, but I don't think Dak does that. But that's the part I don't understand.
Too late now.
Yeah, it's too late now. It's way too late. But I don't think Buffalo would be a good fit for me either because now he's forcing to he's forcing to throw the ball to a wide receiver that's pretty much like a Diggs in the system instead of throwing it around to everybody else. You gotta make sure he gets his touches, which to me doesn't make sense. If my wide receiver's open and I can score, I'm throwing it to him. I don't care if you're making all the money in the world, but if that's not gonna score, that's not gonna get us a score at that point in time, I'm not throwing you the ball. I don't care if you think that I can throw you the ball up in the air, you go up and grab it and you score a touchdown. If somebody's wide open, he's getting the ball. It's simple as that. I don't get that aspect of the game at all to me. It just doesn't doesn't make any sense to me, none whatsoever. But so in the NFC West, you got Seattle, who's 3-2. San Francisco, Rich, what's going on with San Francisco, man? Has the time passed them by, or has everybody caught up with Purdy? Because you had all your wide receivers back. Only one you didn't have back is Christian McCaffrey. So tell me what's going on with them that they can't.
Yeah, they look for McCaffrey. That's the best player in the NFL, man. He's the one that makes Brock Purdy look so good.
Rich, you got a comment on that?
What? What he said or what you said?
Either or. Comment on Mo's first.
I don't think we have an offensive problem really. I think our biggest problem is our defense. We can put the points up as long as we get them up early, but the second half, like the defense just disappears. Like it's happening right now. The fold is happening right before my eyes, and they did this the last 2 weeks.
Man,
2 out of the last 3.
It's 23-17 right now. 1 minute and 24 seconds.
And I'm looking at your depth chart here, Rich, and you're definitely right. You guys currently have 10 players that are out or on IR on defense, and one that's questionable right now. And I don't know if that relates to the game right now or not. And
it's
other than that, like your O-line.
So
you're only down to one center, but that's no big deal. And then the right guard, John Florencio, who's also a third-string center.
So are you guys telling me that Houston Texans and Kansas City Chiefs, Washington Commanders have the best 53-man roster in the NFL?
Yeah, I think you can make an argument for that for all 3 teams.
Okay, because and throw Minnesota in there as well, because
I'll say the healthiest.
Because I'm gonna say this, I think that when it comes to the health of your team, it matters the most than anything else. If you losing guys left and right and left, it's hard to win. But I'm gonna say this about the Baltimore Ravens: when they lost players, they still found ways to win, which is not the norm. But that goes to show you how good their their coach is, in my opinion. You know, he gets a lemon and turns it into lemonade.
Okay, there's levels to this though.
Right. I agree. I totally agree.
Like, all right. I was just about to say, like, we're missing 2 All-Pros on our defense right now, 3 All-Pros on our defense right now. Like, it just ain't. It ain't the same.
But see, but you know what though? This goes back to preparing for NFL season, because if you think about it, when you lose your starting left tackle, that's big, because the backup, he's a backup for a reason, right? He's not as good as the starting left tackle. You know, you lose your quarterback. The backup quarterback is not as good is not good as the starting quarterback, because that's what it is. And I think that now, because of the 17-game season, and it's going to eventually be the 20, you have to know who your starting 23 is, but you got to look at your bench and say, okay, if let's say the right tackle, say my right tackle is okay, but I got to find another right tackle that if he gets hurt, I can replace him with another guy, and we don't miss a beat. You know, I think that's where the NFL, that's where the NFL teams have to go now, because there's such a drop off from the starters to the bench players, and you can see it in the play that you have. You know, and like you said, you have guys that's like the Browns. They have their offensive line has not been the one they thought they were gonna have from the very beginning of the season. Look at the Rams. They have had, and other than last year, the year they won the Super Bowl, and the year after that, they had 16 different offensive linemen starting for them, and now they're in that same pattern as well. So now what you have to do is you have to build your bench up so that if you do miss a player, if a player gets hurt, you just don't skip a beat with that player coming in. And I think
Yep.
if more teams go
And
about
the issue is,
drafting like that, doing the draft or even doing free agency, and say, okay, I want you to come out as a free agent. I want you to come here, but you're not going to start. But you're good enough to start. But I need you around to relieve my starting center, right, for a couple plays during the game. But if he gets hurt, I know I'm not going to miss anything because you have the IQ to be the center that can change the plays when need to be changed, make the adjustments when you need to make the adjustments. And I don't think coaches are going that far. But go ahead,
I
Matthew.
think you're missing. I think you're missing a very key point.
Go ahead, Rich.
Is when they say how much.
And I get that. I get that. And that's probably one of the biggest problems too, is that money is a factor in how it gets done. And let's take the Patriots for example. Only thing Belichick said, just do your job. But you could plug and play anybody on that team. You know, you could take somebody out and put them in, and you wouldn't miss a beat. So what is it that he did that nobody else is doing right now that have all these injuries? And Matthew, I know you had a comment to say, well, go ahead and say what you got to say, Matthew.
Tom Brady.
the other thing with this alignment thing, what the issue is with a lot of teams now is when you're bringing in the backups, there's a 65% chance that backup could potentially be the first player on the line to get a holding flag or a full-on start flag.
Yeah, a lot of that's going on too.
I've seen it lately with multiple teams. Like there's some teams that lately that have gotten 75 plus yards in penalties just from the backup O lineman.
Yeah, that's a lot. Oh man, we had 207. I didn't realize we were there already. Didn't get a chance to talk about the NBA, so we can do that next week. Hey guys, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me from 8 to 10 tonight. 'Cause 10, yeah, 8 to 10. I appreciate y'all. Fall sports is almost over with, man. I know I have this Monday coming up. I have a soccer game and a football game, so I'm gonna be in the booth to maybe 8 o'clock. Maybe 8, 9 o'clock on Monday, but I think Wednesday I might be good to go for next week from Wednesday. So I appreciate you guys waiting for me, man, to do the show. It means a lot to me, guys. So again, thank you, guys. I think we had a great show tonight. We had a lot of input. What's going on? Just an update right now. Bottom of the eighth, Yankees up 3-1. Guardians has won their game. Football score we have we got a tight one going into the fourth quarter. 23-17, and Seattle has the ball first and 3 at Seattle 18. So I guess they punted the ball to them. We didn't really get a chance to talk about the games this weekend, but again, I thank you guys again, man. You guys have a good night.
Is the 49ers going to blow another lead?
It might be. They can't, and this will be the
They
second.
might.
This might be the second loss in the division, and that's gonna hurt right there. That's gonna really hurt them.
And here's the sad
The
part.
third.
The third. Oh
Here's
yeah.
the sad part with it. Because even though I picked Seattle on our CBS gimmick, I am expecting us to lose tonight. But if we do come back with half of our defense injured and players that were coming back from IR that are back on IR, including the O-line problem, if we come back and win tonight, that's going to paddle it back to the coaching staff for solving the playbook.
Hey, Rich, who's your defensive coordinator now for 49ers?
Fired. Nick, my bad. Nick Storer said.
So, hey, Robert Sellers is back out there, so he might end up coming back to San Francisco.
I would have called him the moment that I heard he was fired. Heard you need a job.
Oh, all right, guys, man. Y'all have a good night, man. God bless and be safe out there, man. Oh, that was too funny.
Too, man.
That's too funny.
Hey, everybody.
I thought I deleted that.
Thank you for listening to the Just Us Sports Talk Show. You have been entertained in the sports world by K. Diggs from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the small city with a large heart, Dana the Hater Clark from St. Petersburg, Florida, and Murray E. Baskerville from Gotta Be More Careful, Baltimore, Maryland. Remember, we throw stones and we do live in glass houses. Big-time players make big-time plays and big-time games. Stay ready to be ready. You have been listening to an In the Zone Sports Talk Radio production. Remember, you can hear us again on star107fm.com on Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to download the Try99 TV app on any smart device and subscribe to In the Zone Sports Talk Television. The cost is $4.95. Thank you in advance for your support. Thank you for listening.